Welcome back to Law and Crime, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and thanks for joining us. We have a lot going on today, so let's get right into it. So what's going on right now is the defense is calling a medical examiner that the prosecution had originally hired and was on their witness list. Now, the judge previously ruled that the defense couldn't bring this up in front of the jury, and they're arguing about this back and forth. So while they talk about this and outside the presence of the jury, let's talk a little bit more about the jury. And joining me is jury consultant Alan Tuerkheimer. Alan, great to have you back here on Law and Crime.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm going to ask you the questions I always ask you from every case. We haven't talked about this one. So let's start with the prosecution. If you're the state, what kind of jury are you looking for?
Well, the state wants to look for jurors who are going to actually be comfortable ruling against an authority figure, ruling against a police officer, not taking the authoritarian perspective case and being comfortable with challenging that perspective. And of course, the defense wants jurors who are going to say, hey, this is a police officer. You want to give this officer the benefit of the doubt. Or he thought that Jones was reaching for his gun. He did what he was supposed to with a tough job. So those are the perspectives he shied before and getting a jury in the same case.
You know, you took the question right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you what the defense is looking for as well, and I have so many questions about what the jury might be thinking about. But as we wait to go live in that courtroom, let's just play, if we can, one of the most important pieces of evidence that's been presented to this jury, and that is a combination of two things. It's the roadside assistance call from Corey Jones as he's waiting on the side of the road for this car. It picks up his interaction with Nouman Raja, and then also you're going to hear Nouman Raja's 911 phone call. Let's play both of them right now.
Stop. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Get your fucking hands up! Get your fucking hands up! Go!
Oh my gosh. There's gunshots.
That fucking gun right now!
911.
Hey, this is Gardens Alpha 1. I just got one down. I just shot one person. I'm at that off-ramp right behind Doubletree. Blackmail.
You're behind the Doubletree?
I'm on the off-ramp, 95 southbound off-ramp, off the Doubletree. I am not covered in anything right now. And,
all right.
Give me some units. I got one down. I got one man down. I got 5 ready to stand by.
Roger, you all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Drop the gun!
On the off-ramp, right?
On the off-ramp. Give me some units. I've lost contact with him. I don't know where he is.
All right, you got it, buddy. Where's your radio? Where's your radio, Raj?
My radio's in the van right now. I don't have it with me. That's why I'm on the phone.
All right, stay on the phone, buddy. What's the guy look like?
Black male wearing all black dress, had a silver handgun in his right hand. I came out, I saw him come out with a handgun, I gave him commands, I identified myself, and he turned, pointed the gun at me, started running, I shot him. I've lost contact, 65 to 28 on the SUV.
Go ahead.
It's going to be a Florida 28 of 286 Papa Romeo Hotel, 286 PRH.
Don't know yet. Spike, put that out now. All right, it's a 08 Hyundai 286 Papa Romeo Hotel.
Yes, 286.
All right, it's coming back. It's coming back on a 4-door Hyundai gray.
Yeah, SUV.
Yeah, it's out of Lake Worth. It's not stolen or anything.
All right, man.
All right, stay on the phone. Where's the van at? Where's your van at? In the Doubletree lot?
No. Right on the off-ramp. You'll see my van right there. I'm walking back to my van. I'm backing my van in the car. All right. He's hit at least 3 to 4 times.
All units, signal 33.
All right, you got your radio now?
Hotel.
No, hold on, not yet.
All right, I got units. I got units coming.
Male and dreads on the off ramp behind
All right,
Devil
man,
Street.
thank you.
Males outside.
All right, stay on the phone, all right, buddy?
Temple. Unknown where the male
All
went.
right.
Gardens off on. I'm by the radio now.
26. Drive
All right,
male
hang
hit
up the
3 to
phone,
4
bud.
times. 51.
All right,
FD 51 stage. 350. We're in the parking lot.
I'm not in the parking lot. I'm right on the off ramp. He ran across into the grass towards 95. Guys, right here. He ran in that direction. I lost visual of him. 348. I'm on 95. Just advised that they went on.
Okay, Alan, so a jury who's going to be seated in this, normal people living their lives, get seated in this kind of case, how do you prep them for listening to this and what to take away from these calls? Because these could be the most important pieces of evidence in this entire trial.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. And there's no question, you touched on this or alluded to it, the jury's going to, no matter what, on some level, they're going to put themselves in the shoes of the officer. And when they hear that, they're going to deconstruct what happened. And some might think it escalated too quickly. And others might think, look, he saw a gun, then he had every right to do what he had to do. Now, they're going to ultimately follow the law, but it is difficult because this is unlike anything that jurors have ever done before. Presumably, there are no police officers on the jury. There aren't. And it's tough. It's not easy to do. So this is something that's actually a huge piece of evidence, and they're going to look at this and then create a story in their mind before they decide what really happened in this case. And
this is unique. I mean, we're talking about something, it's been 26 years since an officer in Florida has been facing a trial for an on-duty killing. So to try to find a jury that is not police, that is, you know, not police friendly or police neutral in this jurisdiction, is that tough?
I think it is. I think it can be done with the right, during the jury selection process, asking the right questions. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is very unusual. It's such a unique set of circumstances. So prosecution had to be comfortable with the jury they seated, and at least comfortable that the jury would be open-minded to holding a police officer accountable for the death of a motorist.
But we're also talking about Florida. It's a stand your ground state. How does that affect a jury in the sense, hey, we know our rights here. We can protect ourselves. We don't have to run away. You know, how do you find the right jury there, and what should be going into their minds going into such a case?
Right. It's very difficult. I think just going in, the prosecution's at a disadvantage. Jurors of most venues tend to give the benefit to police officers, but especially as you mentioned in Florida, where this case is taking place, and with the stand your ground law, it's going to be the prosecution's going to have a heightened burden. Not only do they have the burden of proof, but they're going to have to really convince the jury that what the police officer did was wrong, and he shouldn't have done that, and you have to find him guilty.
Now, I just want to let our viewers know before we take our next break what's been happening in the courtroom. The judge just ruled that it's going to be inappropriate for the jury to learn that the witness, the expert that's going to be brought forward by the defense, was originally going to be put forward by the prosecution. They're not going to know that point, but what we do believe this expert is going to be talking about as a medical examiner is going to dispute what the prosecution's expert, Dr. Gertrude Just, said yesterday. Remember, yesterday the prosecution's witness said that Corey Jones suffered a fatal wound to the heart, and he would have only been able to travel a few feet, not 123 feet, as the defense's witness will testify today. This is a huge point. Let's take a break. When we come back, we may be live in that courtroom, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, let's break this down right now. Alan, huge moment here for the defense because this witness is seeming to suggest that if Corey Jones got shot, he still could have traveled a short distance. And in other words, still have been a threat to the officer, to the former officer, to the defendant. This is contradicting what the expert put forward by the state said yesterday, that once he got shot, he really couldn't move that much, maybe a few feet. So now it's up to the jury to decide which testimony to believe. How do they reconcile the two?
Yeah, exactly. They have one version of the events and then the other, and when they get in the deliberation room, they're not going to go right into manslaughter, not manslaughter. They want to know what happened. They want to say to each other, "This is what happened. I think X, Y, Z," and these experts are part of that story. When I talk to jurors after cases like this A lot of them don't have a science background or medical background, but they find that when these experts talk in layperson's terms, very empowering. They appreciate explanations, and they certainly learn a lot about it. So I think that this is pretty compelling testimony, and if you're the defense, you have to feel as if you go in, there's about a draw, or it's 50-50, you win because the prosecution has the burden.
Yeah, and this could be a very big point for the defense. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be live in this trial out of Florida. Stay tuned. So, Alan, this is a big moment for the defense right now because they're shredding away what came into play yesterday. I mean, this idea that, Corey Jones was shot, fell, and he was immediately a threat. The idea that he was running away and his back was towards the defendant when he was shot. There's poking holes in a lot of what the prosecution's theory is. I'm curious your thoughts as to what we're hearing today.
Yeah, perforating, not puncturing holes. So this is a good witness. He's not the most dynamic, but as you said, he's giving an alternative to what the jury heard before, and I think he's speaking in plain English. He's very methodical. I think the jury is going to like him. And he made a few references to hunting. It's probably not a coincidence. The team probably knows that there's some hunters on the jury. So I think that they like his explanations. I think they're following it, and I think it's very interesting from the jury's perspective.
One of the things that we're waiting for today as the defense keeps going forward with their cases, whether or not the defendant will take the stand. How do juries react to that? Do they want to see the defendant in these kinds of cases? Do they want to hear that perspective before they render their decision?
They absolutely want to hear from the defendant. They want to hear it from his own mouth, and they want to hear what he went through, what he saw, and they want to judge his credibility. Now,
right.
They're not supposed to take any negative inferences if he doesn't testify, and it's his right. But the flip side is they absolutely want to hear from him, and it's hard. If he doesn't testify, they'll do their best not to use it against him, but they want to hear in his own words what took place.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's maybe what will happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's take a break on our end. When we come back, we'll be live in the courtroom. Stay tuned. Okay, the defense's witness staying true to that theory that he feels Corey Jones got shot and still was able to do things. So, Alan, final thoughts from you. I know we have to sign you off. I know we're coming to a conclusion. Final thoughts for the jury as they hear the conclusion of this case.
So everything's gonna have to be tied together in closings. I thought that the prosecution did a good job with Cross. He's certainly staying with his theory. He did seem a little flustered at times. Jurors they evaluate a witness, and the demeanor should stay consistent between direct and cross, and he did show a little bit of frustration. He did go beyond the answers that maybe he should have a few times. But overall, I think he's a good witness for the defense, and the closings, the attorneys have to just tie everything together, and
we'll have to see.
Power the jury.
And Alan, thanks so much for coming on. I know we have to sign you off, but we're going to stay here. We're going to come back. Vincent Hill's going to be signing in, and he's going to guide you through the next chapter of this case. We'll be right back.